Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm back in my EveryDollar and I'm going to share with you another paycheck to paycheck kind of thing in my EveryDollar, how I do it. I like knowing how much my spending categories are, and I like knowing it in real time and actual money. And the EveryDollar app is amazing, but it's set up for monthly, and I like paycheck to paycheck. So I kind of made it to work for paycheck to paycheck, and it works for me. I enjoy it. I didn't have to change apps. I didn't have to learn a new system. I just use what I had, and this is the free version, so anybody can do this. All you need is an email address, and you can get started right away. So here we go. I'm excited to get into this because my husband's pay raise and his salary, base salary, what he gets deposited in his checking account every month, is basically, gone up a little bit, about $44 or so per paycheck. So as you can see on my EveryDollar, there was a deposit made. So these first 1, 2, 3, and 4 pays are the first of the month. They're government checks, they're retirement, military, they're VA, they all happen on the first of the month for us. So when he gets a salary check, it's every other Friday. But sometimes that salary check happens very close to where the first of the month is. And I think there's a couple months this year where it's actually on the first. And I'm like, there's a lot coming in and going out, and it just drives me crazy, but I make it work. So here we go. I know a few days ago I've already done a video like this, and now we're moving on and doing the second paycheck, second budget. So that is pretty awesome. So my husband got $2,313.28. That is his new base salary based on a little raise that he got this year. And so I'm going to have to change these numbers. Now, when I budget his salary, I budget the least amount that he should get, the very bottom. I don't include overtime. I do not include reimbursements because I don't know when they're going to happen until they actually happen. And I don't know exactly how much they're going to be until they actually come in. So I don't even count that as part of our budget. And that's a really good thing. If you have an income that's kind of variable, or it changes a little bit, or you get overtime and stuff, never count that as part of how you pay your bills. You can pay your bills with it, but if you live within the budget salary amount, or whatever the hourly amount that you are pretty much guaranteed, then you can create a budget and then have extra left over and get to do whatever you want to do with it, whether it's savings, paying off debt, or a vacation, or gifts, or whatever. So that's the exciting part. And that's how I use mine. So this month, unfortunately, we're not going to get to do savings to our emergency fund or fully funded emergency fund because we kind of have an emergency. I have a stove that's not working very well. One burner only cooks on extremely high, and you can't adjust the temperature on it. And then the other burner, well, and it's a glass top stove. So I'm like, okay, it looks like it came with the house many, many years ago. It's just not working. So we went to Home Depot. We looked at all the stoves that were there and the prices. And then we came home and made a decision. And I went online at the Home Depot website because you never can find anybody when you want them. Though that night there were people there. We could have ordered right then and there. But I came home, I ordered what we needed and scheduled everything. So on the 10th, that's going to come in. And you're going to notice something different in our Visa that's going to reflect that because I did use my Visa credit card to pay it. So we'll talk about that in a minute and go from there. So let's change these numbers. So when your income is a little higher than what you budgeted, you just go in and type the planned amount, and that'll increase, and it'll go from an EveryDollar budget to over budget, which is fine. So you always want to be over budget. That means you have extra money. 231328. There we go. So now that I know this is the new salary, now that I know exactly what the raise is, because this is what it was previously before my husband got the raise. That's the minimum he would get. Now that I know, I can change both of these to this number. And if I've made a mistake or it's off a little bit, I can always adjust later. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and change that number and give me a little more true reflection of what my husband's salary is. So this also is going to say 2313.28. Don't know why I said it that way, but that's how it is. That gives me $84.48 more every month for my husband's paychecks. So I'm really excited about that. It's not a lot of money, but it's something, and that definitely can be thrown into savings. So what I'm going to do, because it's over budget, I'm just going to go ahead and go down to where we track this balance forward. So this is my checking account. This is the cash sitting in my checking account that I don't assign a bill to or expense or spending category. I just assign it to sit in the bank and sit there until something comes up and I have to use it. Then we'll make changes from there, which we will be doing in a few minutes, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to delete this because I don't want to do math. Changes the number, and that's the number I'm going to put in. So 78841. There we go. This is what it shows remaining. Now, this is not going to stay. This is just me getting it to an EveryDollar budget for a few minutes until I make the other adjustments. Now, what I need to do now that Paycheck 1 is closed, and I've already got a video up for that. Oh, it's up here, I think. Paycheck 1. I need to adjust these numbers and then take like this $1.93, close out this to make that 0, and move that $1.93 down here. And move that $11.26 down here. These numbers I have to adjust both in order to get an EveryDollar budget. So that's what I'm going to do, and here we go. So give me 1 second. I'm going to move my image down so I can see a number pretty clear, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. I moved myself down to the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I prefer my image at the top. I don't know why. I guess it's easier for me to see visually, but when I do these budgets, I might start leaving myself down at the bottom because I need to see this number here. So I need to take this out and change the number. It's 29807. There we go. And that number is taken care of. So now I'm here under restaurants. Oh, before I do that, what I like to do so that my March left to budget, I know exactly to the penny to what needs to go into the grocery household section. I need to adjust this. So this goes from $500 to $501.93. Not much rolling over from grocery household, but it's better than being negative and having to borrow from the next week. So there we go. So that is what we have. You're going to see I've already got some transactions in here, and that's because today is the 6th of March and my husband got paid on the 5th, and immediately when he gets paid, I usually do a grocery run and grab some things. It's just how we tend to shop. It works best for us. So next we're going to do the restaurants. And we still had $11.26 left over, which was awesome. Oops. Yeah, 1874, which gives me at the top the over budget that's left. And I need to come down here and add that to this. So the way I'm going to do that is just delete that number, and it's going to give me the total here. I don't even have to think about the math, which is another reason I love EveryDollar. It's very simply laid out. It's very spaced out very well. It's not cluttered, and I don't like looking at spreadsheets. I don't like looking at all the lines. Just aesthetically pleasing here. I love that. So $271.26. So there's that. And I'm back to EveryDollar budget. Now I want to move this $30.80 from miscellaneous. Amazing that I didn't spend all the miscellaneous, but that's okay. The month is early, so we'll see what happens. There we go. All right, so I need to budget $79.20 is how much was spent. And there we go. So $30.80 left to budget. I want to get it in this category right here. So I'm going to delete that number out. And then I'm going to put that number here at the top. Oop, there we go. Almost put in the wrong place. Miscellaneous, $250.80. There we go. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit. Now I am over budget in gasoline. Now I always leave a pretty significant buffer in anywhere from a couple $100 to 500 to 1,000, depending on what's going on in that month. So I'm not worried about going over budget in my spending categories. Usually within the spending categories, there's enough money left over to cover it. Just like you saw, miscellaneous was $30 under budget. So that $15 balanced out with that. But I also want to know individual categories. I want to stay within a certain amount for the entire month. And this is how I keep track of that. So for the week, I only gave myself $50, but I spent on premium gas on my Armada, which is a 29 gallon tank. So that's a lot of money with gas prices going up. We're at $2.56 or something like that right now in my area on average. So yeah, and I got like the premium and a really good gas that has additives and stuff that clean out my gas tank. So let's go from there. Gasoline, I need to change this $50 to $65.98. Now that's $15 over budget here is going to be $15.98 over here. Now, what do? I take my gasoline from this time period, this paycheck spending period. Now, I have enough to pay for gas. That's not the issue. What I need to do is just to drop it down a little bit. And that is the new amount for Paycheck 2 spending. Now, Paycheck 2 spending is the 5th through the 18th. That's 2 full weeks of spending. That's why these numbers are so much higher than Paycheck 3. Paycheck 3 went from the 26th, 27th of February to the 4th of March. So you have to look at the calendar, and that's why I love using a calendar when I budget. So I know where the spending patterns are. I know how to weekly check in. I know how to paycheck budget because everything's on that calendar. And all I got to do is look and see, okay, this bill is going to come out here, and this is what we can budget spending wise for each category. So that is awesome. And that's how I figure it all out. Now, I do have unbudgeted here, but I do not plan for unbudgeting. And when I do purchase unbudgeted items, depending on what they are, I put them there in the unbudgeted category. But I have an unbudgeted item I need to put in, but I'm not going to put it there. The price is too high for me to put it there. We bought a new stove, and we're going to have them install it, and we're going to have them remove our old stove because of the problem. I'm actually just putting that on the Visa. I've already done that, but my husband actually purchased something earlier this month and put that on the Visa. Now that's been paid for, and I'll show you down here. I think I put that transaction in. And if you don't know this is kind of off the subject. I've been putting CBS All Access, and I think it's now Paramount Plus. I think they changed their name. It includes CBS, but I think it's whatever CBS or what Paramount owns. They put it all under one. And so there was like all these other channels under my CBS All Access app, and the icon changed. So if you have CBS All Access and you haven't seen it, a couple days ago this happened. I have no idea what's going on. So I need to check my emails because I haven't been paying attention and go online and see what's really going on. Okay. So 140 of this I plan every month. A couple subscriptions come through, which is less than $100. And then if I want to, or if I need to use the credit card for small amounts because of the convenience factor, then I have a budget for it. I budget for my credit card. I know it's crazy, but I know I can afford to pay that amount. So when my husband came to me earlier this month, he said he wanted to purchase something. And he did, and you're not going to be able to see, well, you can see the spent here, but not the transaction, because my picture's in front of it. So, but it was significant enough that it cost over $800, and then I had something that was $80, which brought down what was left of the 140 right here to $87.21. Now we bought the stove. Well, I've already made a payment, which is why there's of $926.62. I've already paid that. And so that's what's spent. This is what's remaining for the credit card budget, if you want to call it that. And if this is confusing, leave me a comment down in the description box, or not description box, but the comments below, or email me. I have that in my description box. If you have questions about that, just let me know. But basically what it is I plan for what I would spend on my credit card. When I put it in the plan section here, it means it's taking cash out of my checking account, and that's how I adjust for it. So I have another transaction. So I need to change my planned amount. I need to bump it up and from $87.21 and then add the stove, the amount of the stove on top of it. So when I add all that up together, the amount I need in this box is $1,885.75. Okay, now I haven't paid for it yet. It's charged to my credit card. But you gotta remember, this is you paying from your checking account to your credit card. This is not where charges go. And I don't actually use the debt right here for how I do my, whatchamacallit? Trying to figure out what I want to say here. I do not use this, especially if it's linked to the bank. It just gets confusing. I never could understand it. Planned and paid so far. Yeah, that's fine. But the way I'm using it as this is part of my checking. This is just a bill in my checking, like my electric bill, my house payment, whatever. I call it debt-free because I am consumer debt-free in my mind, as long as I don't roll over a purchase from one month to the next. Once I have to pay an interest charge, then I'm in debt. And this forces me to think of that when I make these purchases. This forces me to remind me that credit cards can be very dangerous, very tempting, and you can splurge and just get all kinds of stuff, but you don't really need. It's just conscious spending is what I'm doing. I'm being very aware and very purposeful and not using credit as, I'll deal with it later. No, I'm dealing with it now. And if it's not worth the interest charge, I'm not going to do it. And not many things in this world are worth an interest charge. Shoot, I used to charge pizzas. No, that's not worth an interest charge. And carry them over month to month. I mean, that's ridiculous. I probably spent thousands of dollars on pizza and like thousands of dollars more on, interest charges for the same pizzas that I've already bought. So I'm like, never again, never again. Do not like credit cards. Do not like playing the credit card game. But there's sometimes you have to. So as you can see at the top here, I am over budget by $871.92. So I need to find a way of kind of compensating for that. And where do I do that? I do that with a buffer in my checking account. So my buffer is going to be very slim. I'm not too worried about it because I have already budgeted my spending categories on what we need for the month. We may not go out as much this month. We may not buy in bulk as I spend to make sure we have enough for groceries and household things and things that the kids want and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go back to the top. So once I pay the Visa again, and I'm going to pay it around 23rd, 24th, right before it's due, I know I'm going to have the money for that because I'm going to put it in my budget. So I've already planned to pay for this over budget. I just need to go back to my balance forward. So if I take this number out, just delete it, that number is going to reduce. $83.51. Now this is taking a lot out of my buffer, and that's okay. So $83.51, I'm going to add a new transaction. $83.51. And I'm going to expense it out. And then I'm going to say transfer. I'm not physically transferring money though. But in EveryDollar, I am transferring from this specific line item category and moving it up to my income. So transfer to income. And then I'm going to track that expense. Now that's just a note for me to know why it went down. So I need to come up here and I am going to go to this line item. So anytime I'm using the checking account of my buffer and it's a big ticket item or it's something very important and I need to adjust for. And I did this last month with my Amco because we paid $1,600 with that. And we purposely cash flow as much as possible. This is what this is what I want to do. So this is going to say, I'm going to plan for $83.51. And I'm also going to add an income transaction of, what was it again? $83.51. And that was transferred from Seeking Savings. And I can just leave that there. Track. Because it's already in the checking account. Now, I have to keep in mind it does increase my actual income, but this is not where I track actual dollar amounts. Your W-2s are for that. Your bank statements are for that. But it does track, because I can't balance forward any money from month to month in the EveryDollar app. I have to put it somewhere else to do that. But I'm putting it back in the budget, and this is money that was left over that allowed me to make this an EveryDollar budget. So that's what I did. So I subtracted it from one area, I added it to the top, and we're good to go. So that is how I am paying for our purchase of a new stove, is what's left over in the balance forward column that I normally would balance forward to the next month. Now it's showing $162.69, and that is the lowest amount I've seen in months for balancing forward. I usually have, like last month, it was at least $230, $250, something like that. This month, yeah, it's really low. And it's a 5-week month for me when I budget. So when I did this budget, I'm like, this is going to be really tight. And yeah, but that's okay. We'll make it through. And once we get into April, it'll be good and we'll just keep going. So yeah, that is how I'm budgeting for this month. Like I said, I don't think there's anything else going on. Everything else is happening as normal, except for this. And this was the only abnormal thing. Now, when I go to plan for my savings accounts right here, as you can see, I didn't plan for savings. And this is why I don't plan for savings. Because if I plan for savings and an emergency comes up, then I'm just going to take it out of savings anyway. If you plan and haven't moved the money, then it's not there to move anyway. So I don't plan for savings until the end of the month when I know how much money we have left over. We would have used our emergency fund to pay for the stove because you got to be able to cook. And I can't cook with the stove I have. I can, but the longer I wait, the more it's just going to wear out and it's not going to work anymore. So I decided we'll just go ahead and get it before it really gives out on us. So I can still cook and we'll get a new stove and then move forward from there. We still would have used the emergency fund. So instead of using the emergency fund, I just used what we would have put into the emergency fund as how we paid for it. And that worked really, really well. I'm really happy with that. There was, we had the money. We used our emergency fund. What we potentially would have put in savings, we used it to pay for an emergency. So that was awesome. And we still have a pretty decent amount. So as much as I wanted at the end of April to have $5,000 to move over into February, because I tend to put move into a money market account for, I said that completely wrong. As much as I wanted to move my 3 to 6 month savings into a money market account with $5,000 by the end of March, going into April, I'm not going to be able to put that money in there. It'll be the end of April before I hit $5,000. So I may go ahead and do it sooner than later. It won't change anything on my EveryDollar app. It just will change in my bank account. And I'm just going to use the bank I already have. My checking account and savings accounts are there. My kids' accounts are there. My husband's, all of his accounts are there. And our mortgage is there. And once we do the money market account, that will be there. So it doesn't matter at $4,000 or $5,000 as far as interest rate that we're getting. I just wanted a large enough number to put in there and then put all of our 6-month emergency fund savings in there. So there's that. So we may take at the end of the month what's left over and either roll it over into the next month, or we may actually put it into savings. I haven't really decided, and I probably won't decide until the end of the month. More than likely, I won't. It's just not enough for me to move into savings right now. It just, yeah, I don't like zeroing my account out. I need something in there, so I'm just going to leave it set and it'll be fine. So, and I have plenty of these sinking funds. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the organ termite thing this month or next month. I have to wait and see. I have enough in there to cover it. It'll wipe it all out though. And I have until May to pay it. So I've got some time. I might wait a little bit. So there we go there. And that is it. That is my budget for March and my paycheck budgeting for the month of March. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have an amazing and blessed day. I'll see you next time. Bye.